Amani is casually strolling in the rain when he spots his neighbor Sheena sitting on a swing nearby with a gloomy face. He decides to ignore her of course but notices that she is even subtly crying, so he approaches her and asks what she is doing. Since it's the first time they are talking, she asks him whether he needs something and he points out that she is sitting all alone in the rain, which is going to make people worry. She defends herself that she is out by her own choice and he hands his own umbrella to her to prevent her from getting wet before running away. The next day, Amani arrives at school with a flu and tells his friend that he got caught in the rain after he gave his umbrella to a lost girl, due to which he is sick now. His friend calls him extra nice and Amani notices that Sheena is flocked by girls at the class entrance. Turns out, Sheena is essentially the Miss Perfect of the class who gets excellent grades and is always graceful and nice. On top of that, she is also very humble, due to which most guys in the class want to date and clap her ultimately. His friend named Itsuki teases him about not having a girlfriend while he himself messages a girl named Chitose to ask her to come over later. After school, Amani heads home and comes across Sheena in front of his apartment, who notices that he has a fever. He tells her that she didn't have to bring his umbrella back and she starts fussing over his fever, so he points out that it was his decision to give the umbrella to her. He retrieves his umbrella and heads inside but then becomes dizzy at the entrance. Sheena declares that she wants to repay the favor and opens the door only to see that his hallway is littered with trash. She tells him to change his clothes while she runs to her own neighboring apartment to fetch something. Amani thinks about how he has lived by himself in his apartment since joining high school and how Sheena is his neighbor, which nobody knows about. Later, he wakes up in his bed and sees that Sheena has taken care of him a lot. She even asks him to eat rice porridge which she made for him, and when he seems hesitant she starts to fake act that she will eat it herself if he doesn't want it. He then starts to take his temperature by lifting his shirt and she acts like the moral police as she tells him to let her leave first. After he is done, she brings him porridge to eat and he tells her about his temperature, so she advises him to rest to recover. She teases him about feeding him and he comments that he never expected her to cook, which makes her reveal that she lives alone, due to which she knows cooking. She then advises him to learn how to clean his room, considering what a crap show it looks like. He asks her why she looked so upset at the swing and whether she was having some relationship problems, so she starts scolding him for assuming that she has a boyfriend. He points out that she is very famous, due to which he made the assumption, and when she becomes upset, he apologizes to her for assuming such nasty things about her. She explains that she was just trying to cool her head in the rain, and he assures her that he won't try to hang around her again since boys must be looking for excuses to hang around her all the time. Later, she heads home while he thinks about how they are both going to become strangers once again. The next day, he heads to school as usual and his friend teases him about his dirty room, which reminds him of Sheena. They both see Sheena help out her classmates in studies, which make him think that she really is an angel. The day passes by as usual and later at night he eats a jelly bar. Sheena spots him from a neighboring balcony and comments that he is definitely not eating enough for a boy of his age. She asks him to wait for her and then heads inside, so the love-struck boy starts waiting for her. The bell rings and he opens the door only to find Sheena standing with leftover food. She explains that she is only giving him food for her personal satisfaction and that she cannot ignore him when he is living such a pathetic life as a certified loser. He eats the food and finds it very delicious. The next day, he returns the food container to her and she in return gives him another container filled with food. She explains that she is giving him his dinner and even asks him whether he has any food allergies, so he tells her that she doesn't need to especially make food for him. She makes an excuse that she always ends up making too much food for herself, and he accepts her excuse but points out that girls only pamper guys like this when they have feelings for them. She asks him whether she can have feelings for him and he thinks about how much of a loser he is, so he denies the idea and heads to his apartment with his dinner. Afterwards, she keeps giving him food one day after another, and even his friend in school notices that he looks a bit healthy even though he always has a deadly look on his face. He reveals that he has changed a bit of his diet, and later that day he runs into Sheena at the local supermarket. He quickly explains himself that he only coincidentally ran into her and isn't following her. She believes him and even makes him buy a drink which she cannot buy in bulk. He points out that it's good for her to take care of her budget since her parents must be sending her an allowance, and she becomes upset for some reason even though she admits that her parents send her allowance. They shop together and he even carries her bag, which she whines about, so he tells her to accept his help for once. He then heads to his apartment before her since he knows she doesn't want them to be seen together. Later, one day she goes to his apartment to ask for the food container and comes across him cleaning his disgusting apartment. He confesses that he doesn't even know where to start cleaning, so she scolds him for being lazy and asks him to let her clean since she cannot bear to let her neighbor live in such filth. He accepts her offer and they both start cleaning his apartment, which takes the whole day. She even slips at one point and falls on Amani, but he gets her up. Later, he orders pizza for dinner and she reveals that she has never had pizza since her family has a housekeeper. She confesses that her family is well off and then eats the pizza, which she finds delicious. Afterwards, she heads home and he asks her why she keeps making food for him, and she reveals that she only does it for her own satisfaction because she likes feeding people. She then heads home while he wonders whether there's any other reason behind her behavior. Some day later, Amane finds Sheena at their neighboring park where she looks lost and he notices that she has hair all over her uniform. He asks her whether she has been playing with some animal, so she reveals that she was trying to rescue a cat from the tree. He then notices that she has scraps all over her body plus her foot looks twisted, so he orders her not to move and runs away. He returns with first aid material and asks her to take off her tights, which makes her stare at him, so he suggests that she can cover herself with a jacket and that he can even turn around. He then puts his jacket on her legs as he reveals that she isn't putting pressure on her foot, which made him realize that her foot is probably sprained. He turns around while she takes off her tights and he then puts ice on her ankles. He proceeds to apply a compressor on her sprain while she notices that he seems good at first aid even though he is a loser at all other things. He then gives her his own trousers to wear because she cannot wear tights over the compressor, and even makes her wear a hoodie as he carries her to her apartment. He delivers her safely and she thanks him for his help. The next day he has to wear shorts during PE period because he gave her trousers to Sheena before, and meanwhile the girls in his class fangirl over his classmate Katawaki, who is a handsome dude. He notices that Sheena is not participating in the class and she even passes a smile at him, which he ignores, but all the guys lose their crap over it. Later, she delivers him his clothes along with his dinner and she explains that her foot has almost healed. He calls her an angel again and reminds her that all the guys lost their crap when they saw her smiling during the PE, which makes her comment that it was surprising for her as well. He explains that guys really fawn over her just like all the girls fangirl over Katawaki, and she comments that everyone just likes people based on their looks. She then makes a comment that he is bound to have feelings for her too if guys only go after girls' looks, and he teases her about accepting that she has good looks after all. He then notices that the dinner looks especially good and he wonders whether he can ever eat the food when it's freshly made. She makes an offer to him that she can make the food at his place if he will split the cost, and he asks her whether she isn't worried about her safety, so she threatens to eliminate his family jewels if he ever makes a move on her. She also reminds him of her own popular position at school, which will make it hard for him if she ever reveals anything about him, and she even comments that she is pretty sure she isn't his type anyway. He accepts her proposal while she declares that he isn't a threat to her. They decide on some ground rules that he will pay her a bit extra for her labor and that they will let each other in advance if they have plans. The next day, she comes to his apartment to cook food and notices that his kitchen looks like it has never been touched before. She makes him sit in the dining room because he cannot help her out anyway, and then starts to cook by herself. He even thinks that maybe he has found a wife, but she tells him to stop having any gross thoughts. The food gets cooked and they both sit together to eat. He then starts eating it and he finds everything very delicious, so he keeps complimenting her as he is eating. She even smiles at one point, which makes his heart go all doki doki. After they are done, they clean the dishes together and he wonders whether he should even be enjoying such luxury since she doesn't even like him that much. She explains that she finds his unhealthy lifestyle really pathetic and asks him to openly accept her help, otherwise she can stop cooking. He asks her to keep cooking for her and they both resume dishwashing. The next day Amane's friend Itsuki teases him about not having a girlfriend, and his own girlfriend Chitose comes to fetch him so that they can both walk home. They both collectively tease Amane for being a single loser while he just skillfully ignores them. Later, he washes the dishes at his home while Sheena grades her recent tests and she declares that she is going to have a near-perfect score. She even reveals that she has memorized the next year's curriculum as well as all the scores of the top scorers, including his own score as well, being the theta that she is. He reveals that he has to keep getting normal grades as a condition for living by himself, and even compliments her for working so hard, which makes her comment that she has no choice but to work hard. She then hurries home and drops her ID card, so he runs after her and gives it to her. He notices on the ID card that her birthday is coming up in 4 days, so the next day he asks her whether she wants anything in general. He doesn't tell that he is asking her because of her birthday, and she informs him that she likes having sharpening stones to sharpen her knives. He teases her about not being a normal high school girl, and the next day he asks his friend Itsuki what to give a female friend. He advises him to buy some ornament or some hand cream, so he asks the same question later on to his girlfriend Chitose. She keeps pestering him with questions to get to know more about his supposed friend, and when he doesn't give any information, she advises him to buy some candy or a handkerchief. She even suggests buying a stuffed animal, which seems like a good idea to him, but he thinks that it will be too gay for him if he goes to a shop to buy a stuffed animal. He requests Chitose to accompany him to buy the gift, and she makes him buy her some sweets in exchange for a favor. On Sheena's birthday, he sits beside her like a creep and gives her the gift bag. He reveals that he found out about her birthday on her ID card, and she becomes upset as she reveals that she never celebrates her birthdays. He thrusts the bag in her hands and asks her to consider it a token of gratitude instead. She opens the bag to reveal a hand cream first, which she finds very practical. Next up, she takes out the stuffed teddy bear and he asks her to throw it away if she doesn't like it, but she declares that she would never do something cruel. She accepts his gift as she reveals that she never told anyone about her birthday because she doesn't like receiving gifts from strangers, but she doesn't consider him a stranger so she can accept his gift. Somehow he is about to pat her head because he finds her very cute, but he stops himself at the last second and she thanks him for his gifts. One day, Amani's mom Shihoko arrives at his door, and when he opens the door, she starts pestering him that he looks really good. He tells her to leave and she tries to force her way inside, so he stops her. She reminds her that she and her husband Shudo's income helps pay the rent, due to which he has no choice but to let her come inside. She notices that this apartment looks really clean and she comments that she wanted to give him a surprise visit to see whether he is really taking care of himself or not. He recalls that Sheena was actually with him when Shihoko arrived at his door, due to which he had to force her inside his bedroom and had to tell her to sneak outside at a proper time. Shihoko then asks to see his bedroom and he makes an excuse that he is a high schooler now, so his bedroom is private. She doesn't believe him and barges inside, only to discover a sleeping Sheena on the floor. She starts to freak out because she thinks her loser son has finally got himself a girlfriend, but he tries explaining that Sheena is not his girlfriend, but she doesn't listen to him. He explains that Sheena is just a friend, and just then Sheena wakes up, so she rushes to her side and asks for her introduction. Sheena tries explaining that she and Amani don't have a romantic relationship, but her mom doesn't listen to any explanation and keeps insisting that they must at least like each other. Sheena sternly asks her to let her explain herself, and she then declares that she only cooks for Amani. Her mom asks her to keep supporting her son, and Amani advises her to just give up since his mom doesn't listen to anything when she gets something in her head. Later, he and Sheena both explain everything to her, and she starts pitching to Sheena that Amani isn't a bad guy even though he has no experience with women. She starts flexing his non-existent qualities, so Amani asks her to shut up and leave. She takes Sheena to a side and takes her contact information. She then heads back, and later both Sheena and he discuss how her mom's misunderstanding never cleared up. Sheena comments that Shihoko seems like a really nice person since she is bubbly and kind, and that it's been a while since someone called her by her first name. He points out that only her parents must call her by her name, which makes her comment that her parents would never call her by her first name either. She then quickly changes the topic and he calls her out by her first name, which surprises her. She also calls him back with his first name, and they both decide to keep calling each other by their first names only in private. She then tries to give him back his house key, which he gave her before, and he tells her to keep it with the excuse that it's a bother for him to open the door every single time. She scolds him for being so incautious, and he declares that he trusts her a lot. She accepts the key and warns him that she may clean his apartment and make food for him unannounced. The next day, the test results are announced, which reveal that Sheena came first while Amani gets good marks. The girls comment that Sheena must have a different kind of brain, while Amani thinks about how hard she works to get the first position. Later he buys her a cake and tells her that it's a small celebration for her first position, but she doesn't think her first position needs to be celebrated since she always gets the first position. He points out that her hard work still needs a small reward, and she then cuts the cake to eat it. She takes a bite and finds it very delicious, while the sad virgin just stares at her. She thinks that he is hungry for the cake, so she feeds him one bite, and he in return also feeds her a bite. She admits that it feels unbearable to be fed like a child, and he decides to keep his guard up. Later he decides to learn cooking since he feels like Sheena is spoiling him a lot, so he buys a bundle of vegetables, and he then comes across Sheena on the way when he is heading home. He shares his idea with her and she offers to supervise him, or else he will definitely make a mess of his kitchen. He agrees to let her help, and they both head to his kitchen, where Amani reveals that he wants to make sautéed vegetables and omelette. He then cooks food probably for the first time in his existence and makes a mess out of it. Later, he presents a plate of scrambled eggs to Sheena to have a taste test, and she takes a bite only to declare that he made really bland eggs without salt or pepper. Of course she has to keep flexing her own skills, so she switches her plate with her own omelette that she made, which looks perfect. He takes a bite while she starts her preachy lecture that he did a good job and that if he ever learns how to properly cook, he won't need her anymore. He declares that he wants to keep eating her food even if he sounds pathetic, and she assures him that she won't quit anytime soon. She suggests that he can help her out by cutting vegetables and doing small chores around the kitchen first. The next day, Chitos pesters him to have a Christmas party at his home, and he denies it immediately. She asks him whether he has a girlfriend, and when he denies it again, she teases him for gifting a teddy bear to a friend. He reveals that a neighbor helps him out with food every now and then and Chitose keeps pestering him for the party till he finally agrees to it. Later, he asks Sheena whether she has any plans for the Christmas night and she reveals that she rejected all the boys and all her girlfriends have their own plans due to which she is free for the night. He tells her about his own plan and she assures him that she will stay away for the night. He realizes that she must be lonely during that time so he proposes to spend the Christmas day with her after the party is over. She agrees to his plan and asks him to let her with his gaming console next. Later, Amane has his party with Chitose and Itsuki where they both tease him about his clean place. They keep snuggling together so he tells them to get a room and they both tell him that a bunch of boys ganged up on Sheena to ask her out for Christmas but she rejected them. He pretends to have no interest and it suddenly starts to snow so both Chitose and Itsuki head to the balcony to watch it together. They both then spot Sheena in the neighboring balcony who had also come out to watch the snow. Sheena joins the party at Amane's apartment and she and Amane tell them both about their situation. Sheena also tells them to stop calling her the angel and Itsuki summarizes the whole situation. He then concludes that it's natural for Sheena to not have any feelings about Amane but he cannot believe that Amane doesn't like her either. Sheena declares that they are just an odd couple who like helping each other out and Amane asks the both of them to keep quiet about their arrangement to which they both agree. Amane especially asks Chitose to not spill anything and she announces that she can keep a secret if she wants to. She then starts being touchy with Sheena as she examines her skin and calls her slim and radiant. She asks her about the secret behind her smooth skin and Amane tells her to stay away from her considering she is very shy and doesn't like physical touch. Chitose backs away and apologizes to Sheena for acting like a creep. She then formally introduces herself and asks to become Sheena's friend so they both shake hands. Itsuki also formally introduces himself and the trio starts bickering among themselves. He calls Amane his best friend and tells Sheena to consult him if Amane does something bad to her. Chitose then asks Sheena about her favorite type of cooking and she reveals that she likes cooking too so the girls start chit-chatting about it. After they are both gone, Amane apologizes to Sheena about his friends and asks her to give Chitose a slap if she ever becomes too clingy. They both watch the snowfall together and she then heads to her apartment to fetch the beef stew that she has made while he thinks about how he wanted to keep her a secret for a little longer. She brings the food to his apartment and they both eat it together. After he is done, Sheena points out that he looks really happy when he is eating and he compliments her cooking skills for the 100th time. He then washes the dishes and when he is done, he asks her how she learned to make so many different dishes. She reveals that her caretaker taught her how to cook and that she used to be a great cook who could bring joy to people through her cooking due to which she also aims to cook just like her one day. Amane thinks that her cooking already tastes like joy to him and this makes her emotional since she didn't think her cooking was at that level yet. He declares that he wants to eat her cooking every single day and they both make a plan to make lunch the next day after which they will both play games. The next day, after lunch she tries playing games but she keeps sucking at it so Amane helps her by showing her how to use the controller. He ends up becoming too close to her due to which he apologizes again and she assures him that she didn't get mad because he isn't a stranger to her. She then starts to become good as she keeps playing and at one time she keeps leaning sideways when she is playing race games which he finds really cute. She ends up falling into his lap which is a classic klutz move and he laughs at her cuteness while she thinks that he is just making fun of her. He tries defending his honor that he wasn't making fun of her but she doesn't listen to him. She keeps playing till she finally wins a game and Amane claps for her like a kid while she thanks him for all the help. He then gives her a gift for winning her first game and he even tells her to pretend that Santa got the gift for her. It turns out to be a key case which Amane got for her since he has lent his house key to her and she assures him that she will use the gift since she likes it a lot. She finds his taste stylish especially since his usual clothes are mostly boring and she tells him that his mom sent her a junior school picture of him in which he looked really handsome. She then pushes his bangs aside and notices that his eyes look really bright so he in return pushes her bangs aside to tease her. She then gives him the Christmas gift that she got for him which turns out to be a scarf and he thanks her for it as he puts it around his neck. He notices that she seems less guarded around him and he tells her to keep smiling since she looks really cute so she becomes embarrassed to hear this. They both head to the balcony where he puts a jacket over her shoulders to prevent her from getting cold and she in return teases him about the first time when he got cold because of her. He thanks her for all the help in the past 2 months and she thanks him as well even though he thinks he doesn't need to be thanked for anything. Later, she is about to head home when he notices that her face looks flushed so he makes her take her temperature and it turns out that she has a slight temperature. She keeps denying it so he scolds her for overdoing everything while he was just slacking off and tells her to relax during the winter break. She remains stubborn so he picks her up and tells her that he is going to forcibly make her rest. She complains that he cannot enter a girl's room so he asks to choose whether she should rest in his own room or her room. She reluctantly chooses his room and he then puts her on his bed. He starts to take care of her just like she did for him long ago and even scolds her for pushing herself too much. He apologizes to her for burdening her, so she tells him that she just wasn't taking care of herself and that he isn't a burden. He is then about to go when she grabs his pants from behind and he realizes that she needs some company, so he grabs her hand like a child. He instructs her to sleep and remains with her till she falls asleep. He sleeps on the sofa and the next morning he checks up on her. She keeps apologizing to her for burdening him and he brings food for her to eat. He notices that she looks pretty lonely, so he decides to keep her company till she can sleep again. She reveals that nobody has taken care of her for the whole day since her housekeeper named Koyuki would also go back by evening and she would always be left alone. He declares to be with her and she then grabs him hand as she reminds him that he promised to keep her company till she can fall asleep. She falls asleep while he thinks that she is really bad for his heart. Soon the new year arrives and the both of them watch the ceremony together on the TV. They both wish each other a happy new year and Amani reads a message from Itsuki asking him whether he is spending his time with Sheena. Meanwhile, Sheena also replies to her own messages and Amani reads a message from his dad wishing him a happy new year. His dad asks him whether he can visit soon and Amani agrees, but when he turns around to tell Sheena about it, he finds that she has fallen asleep on his shoulder. He tries to wake her up since he believes that she will catch a cold again, but when she doesn't wake up, he thinks about how she worked the whole day cooking food for New Year after her cold was recovered. He shakes her to wake her up and she ends up falling into his arms, which seems like a jackpot for him. He wonders whether he should startle her awake or carry her to her room, but he realizes that both options put him in a wrong spot. He then carries her to his own room as a last resort and safely deposits her in his bed. He puts the covers on top of her and pats her face as he wishes her good night. The next morning he arrives in the room only to find that she hasn't even woken up yet, and he thinks that she shouldn't drop her guard so much, especially since she is so cute. The world's biggest simp keeps staring at her face and he then pokes her cheeks to wake her up. She almost wakes up, which startles him, but she goes back to sleep again. She slowly wakes up and becomes shocked when she realizes that she is in his room, so he quickly explains that she fell asleep in his apartment. She asks him whether he likes touching her cheeks a lot and she reveals that she was awake last night when he touched her cheeks. He wonders whether she wanted him to make a move and this embarrasses her, so she hides in the blanket again. Soon Amani's parents arrive to meet him and he formally greets his dad Shudo, which makes Shihoko comment that he wasn't so nice towards her when she came to his apartment the last time. He then lets them inside and Shihoko meets with Sheena. Shudo thanks her for always taking care of Amani and Shihoko teases him for being a slob. The parents notice that they both seem pretty comfortable around one another and later Sheena serves them tea. Shihoko points out how both Amani and Sheena are calling one another by their first name and Shudo warns her against brutally teasing them. They both start flirting with one another and Amani tells Sheena that they get along the same way at their home too. Shihoko reveals that she has brought a kimono for Sheena to wear so that she can visit the shrine and that it's always been her dream to take her daughter for a shrine visit. Amani advises her to take her along and she reveals that she wants Amani to come with them, so Amani explains that they cannot afford to be seen together by their classmates. His parents then make him dress up formally so that he can finally stop looking like a monkey and look unrecognizable in his formal dressing. Shudo compliments his handsome looks and he answers that Itsuki was also complimenting him. He asks him whether he is happy for transferring now and Amani recalls the position he was in at his previous school, which makes him reply that he has it easier in his current school. Sheena appears in a yukata and Shudo compliments her look, so Shihoko asks Amani to tell her how she looks as well. He awkwardly tells her that she looks good and later she meets with him so they can both head out together. He tells her again that she looks good and she in return whispers in his ears that he also looks really good before running out. They both reach the shrine, which is crowded with people who keep staring at her, and Sheena even gets pushed by the passersby, so he lends his hand to her. She takes his hand and they both arrive at the shrine where they both pray. She takes a long time and later she tells him that she was praying for the peaceful times to remain as it is. They both then eat some shrine snacks and Amani asks her to let him taste her red bean soup, so she hesitantly gives him the cup while she takes his cup in return. He takes the sip and she comments that he was previously very cautious about sharing cake with her, but he doesn't seem to mind now. He thinks that she doesn't like it, so he apologizes to her as he explains that he is used to sharing his things with Itsuki and Chitose, but he will be careful with her. She takes another sip out of his cup as she complains that they are both close friends so they can share things too. Later, they both part ways at his apartment and she reveals that she had the happiest time, so he starts feeling bad for her and pats her head in response. She tells him to warn her first before doing something like this, and when he withdraws his hand, she tells him to stop teasing her. She runs away to his room and calls him a dummy before entering. Later, she and Amani both bid goodbye to his parents who have to go back because of work. They tell him to come home during summers and he thinks that they are definitely going to pressure him to bring Sheena along. Shudo advises Sheena to remain Amani's friend since he is a sincere person and she compliments his straightforward attitude as well. After they are gone, he comments that she didn't have to flatter him so much and she replies that she wasn't telling any lies. She tells him outright that he has a very trustable personality and then heads inside to make lunch while he thinks that he is definitely glad to move. The next day in school, rumors start to spread that Sheena has a boyfriend since she was seen holding hands with someone who doesn't go to their school and Amani ignores all the comments. Itsuki teases him about having a nice face and he ignores his teasing as well. Later, he discusses with Sheena about the rumors and she advises him to let the talks die down for now. She reveals that she told everyone that she was with an acquaintance only and she wonders whether they really looked like a couple. He comments that a person like him can never become her boyfriend and she starts love-bombing him as she tells him that he is a really good person with many qualities. She tells him all about the good qualities and features that he has so he becomes embarrassed and storms off to wash dishes. She then puts the cushion against her face to hide her embarrassment while he keeps getting the ego boost. One day, Chitose reminds Amani that the month of February has a very important event coming up and he recalls that their final exams are arriving soon. She reminds him that Valentine's Day is coming soon and that he should know these things by now. She then wonders what kind of chocolates Itsuki would like to eat and that she made moldy chocolates for him back in middle school but she wants to make something else now. She plans to ask Sheena but she thinks Amani can give her a good idea as well even though he isn't a genuine guy and when Amani argues with her that he is most definitely a genuine guy, she teases him about not putting any moves on Sheena yet. He reminds her that he is just friends with Sheena as he thinks about how he wants to clap Sheena but he doesn't want to hurt her. Chitose asks him what kind of chocolates he would like to eat and he reveals that he likes them not too sweet. Sheena reveals that she is also planning to give chocolates to her female friends and Chitose as well which makes Chitose snuggle with her. Valentine's Day arrives and the class hottie Katawaki keeps getting chocolates from all the girls while all the guys feel jealous of him. Itsuki assures Amani that Chitose made special chocolates for him and he teases him about getting chocolates from Sheena too but he only ignores him. Later Chitose gives him a chocolate box which she explains contains some super sweet ones and some very bitter ones too. She assures Itsuki that Amani's palate will be thoroughly cleansed and she and Itsuki both then leave together. Amani notices that Katawaki looks swamped with chocolates so he approaches him and hands him his own shopping bag which he can use to put the chocolates inside. Katawaki takes it from him and thanks him as well after which Amani heads home. Later, Amani eats one of Chitose's chocolates which tastes awful and Sheena gives him a cup of hot chocolate to soothe him. He finds it delicious as usual and he realizes that she made it especially because of Valentine's Day. He thanks her and he notices that she seems hesitant to say something further. She then storms off to her home and when he follows her to ask her what's wrong, he finds a small bag hanging on his door. It turns out to be a small Valentine's Day gift from her which contains some unique orange-based chocolates that are not too sweet. He realizes that she must have taken notes when he was telling Chitose about his preference and he then eats the chocolates which he finds very delicious. The next day, Katawaki approaches Amani and thanks him for helping him out the other day while the other girls wonder what Katawaki could possibly be talking about with Amani. When he leaves, Itsuki approaches Amani to get an explanation and he then teases him for keeping a shopping bag with him. They both start discussing how Chitose can barely do anything and Itsuki defends her by saying that she can do anything if she puts her mind on it. He believes that he will work hard to get his dad's approval of Chitose if he wants to marry her and Amani wishes him good luck. He in return wishes Amani good luck with Sheena so Amani reminds him for the dozenth time that they are just friends. He heads home and finds Sheena already inside so he thanks her for the chocolates and asks her what she wants in return. She explains that she doesn't want anything and that he already gives her too much but he reminds her that she does a lot of favors for him and she makes food for him. He decides to buy her something anyway and she reveals that she treasures everything that he has given her. She explains that she even takes care of the bear that he gave her and she then asks him when his birthday is so he reveals a date that has already passed. She scolds him for not telling her sooner about the date even though they knew each other by then and he reminds her that they weren't even close then. She makes him promise that they will definitely celebrate his next birthday together and he teases her about spending more time together. She becomes embarrassed and declares that she has no ulterior motives for him. Soon he heads out shopping to buy a gift for her and he asks a shopkeeper to help him select a gift which he can give to a close friend who is a female. The shopkeeper helps him pick some accessories which are popular among girls and soon he approaches Sheena after dressing up and styling his hair for White Day. She becomes shocked to see his changed appearance and he offers to change back into his usual clothes in embarrassment. She declares that he looks fine as it is but she keeps staring at him which embarrasses him. She explains that she can relax when he is in his casual clothes, but he looks too cool when he dresses up, due to which she cannot relax. He then gives her the White Day gift and she opens it up to reveal a bracelet. She likes it a lot, and the gift bag also contains a ticket which can make her request anything that she wants from him. She decides to use the ticket as she asks him to put the bracelet on her, and he tells her that she doesn't need to use the ticket for something so small. He then puts the bracelet around her wrist and she thanks him for the gift. Later, Itsuki teases him about getting closer to Sheena gradually, and he predicts that Amani will slowly change for Sheena. He comments that he must want to be with her since he thinks that he is not good enough for her. Amani then heads home and Sheena greets him inside, which makes him think that she just seems like a young wife. She scolds him for eating fries before dinner, but she thinks that he should gain a little weight. He reminds her that she should put on some weight too, and he shows her wrist, which seems pretty skinny to him. He then withdraws his hand because he had forgotten that Sheena doesn't like being touched, and she tells him that she doesn't like being touched by him. She becomes embarrassed as she explains that she just doesn't like being touched by other guys, and he notices that she isn't wearing the bracelet he gifted her. She explains that she doesn't want to ruin it in house chores and that she is leaving it for days when she is free. He then heads inside to change while he keeps thinking that she is acting more and more like a young wife. One day, Itsuki brings his luggage to class and asks Amani to let him stay with him for some days. He explains that he got in a fight with his dad because of Chitose, due to which he doesn't want to return home, and since spring break is coming, Amani doesn't mind either. He texts Sheena about the latest situation, and afterwards Amani takes Itsuki home with him where Sheena greets him. Amani tells her that Itsuki is just going to make everything noisy, so she scolds him for not treating his guests nicely. She heads to the kitchen to cook dinner while Itsuki teases him for giving Sheena the key to his house. Later they all eat dinner together and Itsuki raves about her cooking like a starved man. He calls Amani a very lucky man for cooking such food daily, and Amani admits that he is very lucky. Later, he and Itsuki head to sleep and Itsuki tells him that he seems like an antisocial loser to everyone else, but Sheena must see the reality, due to which they both get along so much. He advises him to think hard about trying to get together with Sheena, and Amani heads to sleep without saying much. The next day, Chitose eats Amani's ear off on the phone when she discovers that Itsuki is staying over, and she asks Amani to let her eat Sheena's cooking as well, so he tells her to ask Sheena instead. She wastes no time as she calls Sheena next and arrives at his doorstep, where she declares that she is actually going to stay at her place since it's spring break. She rushes over to Itsuki where they start being touchy-feelsy with each other, so Amani joins Sheena in the kitchen and asks her about the menu. She reveals that Chitose requested her to make omuris and that he likes egg dishes too, so he declares that he likes her omuris a lot. Somehow she becomes embarrassed and Itsuki and Chitose wonder why they both aren't together even though they act so cringe around one another. They all then eat food together and Itsuki and Chitose fangirl over Sheena's cooking crazily. Sheena reveals that the credit goes to her teacher who taught her cooking, and Chitose wonders whether she can learn the same level of cooking, so Amani advises her to chill a little and take some lessons from Sheena. Chitose thinks that she can never be like Sheena since she seems so uptight, and she comments that Sheena seems very different compared to her usual self in school. She points out that Sheena looks very distant in school, but she seems very cute in person, and she asks her to open up a bit more since she believes that she can make Amani spoil her a lot. She keeps teasing both Sheena and Amani, and Sheena declare that she won't make Amani do such a thing. Later at night, Amani comes out of the bath when he gets a picture from Chitose which reveals Sheena in cute night clothes. He feels really awkward, and just then Itsuki takes his picture to send it back to Chitose. Soon Itsuki's stay at his house ends as he spends the next few days at Chitose's house. Afterwards, Amani tells Sheena that he noticed the bear in the picture that Chitose sent him, and she reveals that she takes care of the bear a lot. She ends up confessing that she even sleeps with the bear, and she becomes too embarrassed, so she asks him to spill an embarrassing secret as well, or else she will ask Itsuki to share something embarrassing. Just then she gets a text from someone else and suddenly her mood becomes quiet. Sometime later, Amani is heading home when he sees that Sheena has a visitor at her door who tells her that she is just someone else and that she won't have to deal with her once she graduates from college. She asks her to keep sending the necessary paperwork via email and then leaves. Amani then approaches Sheena and asks her who the lady was, so Sheena reveals that the lady was actually her biological mother named Seo. She assures him that her mother has always hated her, due to which she is used to her attitude and that he doesn't need to worry about anything. She is about to head inside when Amani grabs her hand to stop her, and she assures him that she is alright, but he still tells her to stay with him. She ends up agreeing and he takes her home where he keeps holding her hand. She reveals that her parents didn't marry out of love but rather due to mutual family interests, due to which they never intended to have children, and that they ended up making a mistake due to which she was born. They never wanted to raise her, so they only supported her financially, and they never came home either, due to which only her housekeeper raised her. They only gave her money and stayed away from her, but she still tried to excel at everything because she wanted their approval. She didn't get any attention from them and she reveals that they cannot even get divorced because of her because none of them wants to take her due to which they are waiting for her to finish college so that they can all separate and go their own way. She reveals that her mother even told her that she is an unwanted child, after which she was whining around in Rain when he first found her and she kept wondering why her parents had her when they didn't want her in the first place. He puts a blanket over her and instructs her to cry and to not suffocate her feelings. She tells him to keep everything a secret and she then leans on his shoulder as she starts crying like a child. Later when she is done, she scolds him for looking at her while she was crying. She then thanks him for his support and again leans on his chest while he pats her head. She wonders what she should do now since her parents keep ignoring her, and she whines about her third world problems, that everyone adores her because she acts fake in front of them but they will never like the real her. She keeps whining that she is actually selfish and mean and cowardly due to which people won't like her, and he declares that he actually likes her a lot even if she is mean because he cares for her and wants to protect her. He advises to stop doubting herself and reminds her that he actually likes her a lot, but he realizes that he may be confessing his feelings to her, so he starts blabbering that his friends and parents like her too despite seeing her real self. She starts crying again because she feels like she has been blessed a lot, and she asks him to keep looking at her and to keep holding her. She then hugs and he lets her hold him till she is sick of him. Later, she feels pathetic about her childish behavior and he advises her to depend more on other people since she isn't alone. She then requests him to go out with her and they both head out after preparing themselves. They take a long walk where they discuss the upcoming new school year and he thinks that she is excited about changing her class because of Chitos. She then hugs him from behind and she thanks him again for all the help. She reminds him to always keep looking at her, and the sakura blossoms start to blow in the air, which make her comment that she never liked spring because it always reminded her of her loneliness. He holds her hands and reminds her that she isn't alone anymore, which makes her comment that she doesn't hate spring anymore. The new school year begins, in which Amani gets placed in the same class as Sheena and his friends, so Itsuki teases him about being more close with Sheena now while he just tries to ignore him. Katawaki is also in their class once again and he greets Amani too, which makes Amani recall his old friend from his previous school. Later at home, Sheena notices that he looks spaced out, but he assures her that he is alright. She also compliments his hair, which looks really touchable, and she asks him to let her touch it. He agrees and she then asks him to put down his head in her lap, which really embarrasses him, but he ends up listening to her as he puts his head down like a good boy. She strokes his head and he asks her whether she isn't worried that he will do something indecent, which makes her reply that she trusts him a lot. He realizes that she is worried for him and she asks him whether it's appropriate to lie on a girl's lap without telling her anything. He doesn't take the bait, so she tells him that Chitos told her that a man's fatigue goes away if their hair gets stroked in the same way. She then starts to discuss the new class with him and he comments that they need to keep their guard up so that they don't start acting friendly with one another in front of the others. Sheena doesn't like that Amani said this without any emotions, but she decides to let it go for now, and he tells her that he will act normal at home, which makes her point out that putting his head in a girl's lap isn't really normal behavior. He thinks that she is spoiling him rotten and soon he starts to fall asleep. He wakes up after an hour and jumps away from her. She reminds him that she has her guard down around him, so he should learn how to do the same, and she then pinches his cheeks as a scolding. She asks him to lean on her whenever he feels down and pinches his cheeks again, which makes him comment that she is being really pushy. She reminds him she is only like this in front of him and he calls her a dummy in return. Later, he heads to the arcade by himself and plays a bunch of games to get rewards. He returns home with a huge shopping bag and Sheena tells him to change while she will set the table. Afterwards he gives her a bunch of stuffed toys and she even snuggles a stuffed bunny, which embarrasses her a moment later. She thinks he is treating her like a kid and he calls her cute. He then pats her head to distract her while she thinks that he is always giving him some gifts to her, so she should repay him back somehow. She declares that she is ready to give him anything he wants, so he asks her to make pudding with lots of eggs. Later she heads to the market to buy eggs and she then makes pudding for him, which he finds delicious. He starts complimenting her that her meals are the highlight of his loser day and he keeps flattering her non-stop, which starts to embarrass her. She tells him to stop and he explains that he has to keep flattering her because she is going to cook for him non-stop. She becomes even more embarrassed and starts to leave after calling him a dummy, so he grabs her hand and asks her to rest. He tells her that he will clean the dishes and she then lays down on the sofa in embarrassment. The next day during lunch break, Katawaki asks Itsuki and Amani whether he can join them for lunch, and Itsuki wonders why he is being so friendly, so Katawaki explains that he wants to become friends with Amani because he seems like a nice guy. Itsuki welcomes him to the Amani fan club where they obsess over Amani, and Amani reminds Katawaki that there's nothing in it for him if they do become friends. Katawaki doesn't mind and Amani notices that Sheena is sneakily looking at him. Later at home he asks her whether she is mad at him for something and she explains that it's her problem and that she is probably too narrow-minded. He still asks her to explain what her problem is, and she reveals that any random person like Katawaki can just approach him at class, but she has to hold herself back. He reminds her that it will seem weird if she starts interacting with him out of nowhere, but she keeps whining that he interacts normally with Itsuki and Chitose too, due to which she feels normal. She asks him to stop thinking of himself as a boring loner and tells him that she will go around boasting about his qualities. He reveals that he will die of embarrassment if she does it, and she insists that she wants to spend time with his group as well. They devise a plan according to which she should slowly start interacting with his group so that the others don't get sus of their interaction. The next day the teacher asks the students to make groups, and Sheena asks Amani to include her in his group. Later they all chit-chat together, and Amani and Itsuki bicker with each other, which makes Sheena comment that she is really envious of their friendship. Chitose asks her to formally become a part of their friendship group, and she gladly accepts the invitation. Amani reminds them that they have to decide their cooking menu, and she teases him for not being able to cook a simple omelette even. They all roast him together, even though he tries to defend his case that he cooks and cleans now. Later during class, he cooks alongside Sheena and asks her for guidance as well, which makes Chitose comment that they seem like a newly married couple. Sheena shuts her up before she can say it fully, and soon their group finishes making all the food. She and Amani head to the fridge to bring the dessert when two of their classmates mess around and accidentally end up spilling some hot oil. Amani barely saves Sheena as he pushes her back, and he scolds the boys for messing around so much. The guys apologize to her, and the teacher then makes them clean the floor as well. Amani tells the group that Sheena would have gotten burned, due to which he had to pull her back, and she thanks him for saving him. Later at home, she tells him that she is slowly getting close with his group, but she still seems upset for some reason, due to which he starts to pat her head. She wonders how long it will take to accomplish her goal, and Amani asks her whether she would like him to do anything, so she just tells him to keep patting her head. Some day later, Amani and Sheena discuss that the golden week in school is coming up, after which they will have long vacations, and Sheena whines about her third world problems, that she doesn't like vacations because she usually has no plans. He reminds her that she has to teach Chitose how to cook, and since he doesn't have any plans either, she pulls out the ticket that he gave to her as a gift, which means that he has to do anything that she asks of him. She then tells him to accompany her for one day during Golden Week, and that he has to listen to everything that she says during that day. He agrees, and she shares that she is going to make him carry her bags too, which he doesn't mind. She asks him whether there's any specific place that he wants to go, and he awkwardly tells her that he wants to go to a cat cafe with her since it's too embarrassing for him to go alone. They both make plans to go shopping after visiting the cat cafe, and then to the arcade. Sheena declares that she cannot wait for vacations to start, and the love-struck boy feels the same. Soon the vacations start, in which Sheena and Chitose hijack Amani's kitchen so that she can teach Chitose how to cook. Amani warns her to keep an eye on Chitose in case she spikes the food with something weird, and the cooking lesson starts as she asks Chitose to peel the shrimps first. Amani keeps watching them, but he falls asleep gradually, and he wakes up to find himself leaning on Sheena. He withdraws back, and Chitose teases them about being lovey-dovey and also for using each other's first names. He thinks that Chitose must have pulled some kind of prank on him, but Sheena assures him she didn't. They both present breakfast to him, which Chitose especially made, and Sheena assures him that nothing suspicious was put inside it. He eats the food and finds it delicious. Later Chitose heads home with the leftovers, and Sheena confesses that she pranked him while he was asleep. She admits that she squished his cheeks and ruffled his hair, and that she enjoys doing such things to him, so he admits that he also likes squishing her cheeks. He then starts to feel her cheeks like a certified creep, and she becomes relaxed. She then asks him whether she should dress prim and proper or a bit mature for their outing, and he tells her that both looks will suit her. She starts whining about his answer, so he tells her to wear a prim dress, and she decides to blow him away somehow. The next day she shows up on his door in a cute-looking dress and with her hair done up, which makes him blush, and he confesses that she looks cuter than usual, while she thinks that she overdid her preparation. He assures her that she looks fine and then takes her hand as they both head out. They visit the cat cafe first, where Sheena plays with the cats and even becomes upset when one of the cats avoids her. Amani assures her that the cats will take some time to get used to, and he then leads her to a side. The waiter serves them drinks which have the cat art on them, and Sheena finds it so cute that she cannot drink it, otherwise she will ruin the art on them. Of course Amani finds her extra cute when she acts so cringe, and he reminds her that it will be a waste not to drink it. She then takes a sip and notices that he is laughing again, so she asks him about it, and he answers that she has a white mustache. He even takes a picture of her, and she lets it go for once. A cat climbs on her lap, which makes her swoon, and she notices that another unfriendly cat is on Amani's lap as well. She thinks that he treats her like he treats the cats as well. Later they both head to the shopping well, where Amani spots a fancy-looking dress at one of the shops, and he tells Sheena that he likes such dresses. The smooth guy then explains that she would look good in anything that she wears, but she will look extra cute in the dress, so she rushes inside to try it on. While he is waiting for her, some girls approach him and start hitting on him. Sheena rushes out and drags him away from them. They then play some games and Sheena even wins a stuffed cat which she later gives to Amani since he also gave her a lot of stuffed toys last time. He doesn't think he should take it since she worked so hard to earn it, but she reveals that she only wanted to give it to him. He teases her that he will keep it with him and keep it at his bedside just like she does, which embarrasses her a lot. He is about to pat her head when suddenly Katawaki spots her and asks her what she is doing. He comments about her having a boyfriend and she assures him that she doesn't have a boyfriend. He then realizes that the person sitting beside him is actually Amani himself, and they both then explain the whole situation to him about how they are neighbors. He notices that Amani looks like a hottie when he is all dressed and that Sheena probably likes him. Sheena asks her to keep their situation a secret and he assures them that he considers Amani a friend so he won't do anything to ruin their friendship. Later when he is gone, Amani feels guilty about being discovered and Sheena tries to assure him that it's alright. He feels glad that it was only Katawaki who saw them and he thinks highly of Katawaki now, especially after becoming friends with him. He understands why Katawaki is such a popular dude and Sheena reminds him that he has good qualities too, so he shouldn't put himself down. She tells him that she will keep complimenting him till his loser self-esteem develops and he declares defeat in front of her. The next day, Amani catches up with his guy friends and he tells Katawaki that he isn't in a relationship with Sheena. He doubts him and Itsuki reveals how Sheena even cooks for him, which makes Katawaki doubt him even more. Katawaki explains to him that girls don't just cook for anyone and he bluntly asks Amani whether he likes Sheena or not, so he has no choice but to accept that he does like her. He later returns home and tells Sheena about the karaoke with the boys. She seems to be hiding something and he keeps asking her what's wrong till she reveals that Shihoko sent her a couple pictures of him when he was a child. She refuses to show him the pictures, so he leans over her and they end up falling on the sofa. Sheena thinks he is about to kiss her, but he just pinches her cheeks and withdraws himself. He even takes the phone from her and apologizes for the situation. Some day later, Sheena asks him whether he is doing anything for the upcoming Mother's Day and he reveals that he is actually sending Shihoko a bouquet and some other things, but he would have done more things if he was at home. She thinks that it's surprising for him to live alone and he recalls an event from his past, so he tells her that he had to live alone due to some event. She becomes upset because he doesn't tell any details, so he pats her head and tells her that he had to move due to some guys in his previous school. He assures her that he is alright, but she calls him a liar and says that he wouldn't be acting out if everything was alright. She even pats his cheek like a child and assures him that he can depend on her if he is hurting. He starts to share his sob story with her, in which he was a pretty naive and trusting kid in his previous school, due to which other kids would take advantage of him and would make him buy stuff for them. The kids would think he is easy to push around even though he acts like he is some hotshot. One time Amani overhears them trash talking about him and he reminds them that he is their friend, so one of the losers gives him a reality check that they only care about his money. After this incident, he started to doubt everybody's intentions around him, due to which he eventually decided to move away. Sheena declares that she would have punched his fake friends if she was with him, and he tells her that the incident is very mid compared to her own tragic past. She asks him not to compare the both events since he must have felt very hurt as well, and that he should depend on her more since she is always depending on him. She cups his cheeks and he thinks that she is spoiling him a lot, which will make him even more helpless. She starts listing his good qualities and asks him to let his guard down, but when he remains stubborn, she pushes him down on her shoulder. She tells him that she opened up to him a lot the last time, due to which he should open up too, and he thinks she is being very pushy, but he still ends up hugging her. Afterwards he declares that he never wants to repeat the same act again because he thinks that guys shouldn't depend on others. She calls him a dummy and then starts to walk away, so he hugs her from behind and tells her not to look back at him. He thinks that he is acting very selfish and she declares that she acts selfish as well, so he shouldn't worry about it. She then runs away to the kitchen, leaving. The next day, Amani works out in the nearby park because he feels like he needs to work on himself if he wants to be with Sheena. At school, some girls ask Sheena whether she has a boyfriend since someone saw her roaming around in the mall, and Sheena answers them that she was just with a friend. They ask whether she had gone on a date and she tells them that she had gone on a date with someone very dear to her. Later at home she tells Amani that she wasn't lying because he is very dear to her even though they have only spent half a year together. She starts ranting for the dozenth time about how she trusts him a lot and believes in him. He points out that their classmates got the wrong idea from her answers, but she thinks that they would have imagined something worse if she hadn't told them the truth. He tells her to give him a warning first before saying something so brutal because he can get the wrong idea too, and she teases him about the situation. Later he tells her that he has started training and exercising, due to which he may be out often, and she believes that he must be very tired after the training, so she should spoil him afterwards. She declares that she will do whatever he asks and in return he should fulfill one of her wishes. He agrees to her proposal and asks her to give him an example of what she wants. She starts to say something but stops and instead then says that he should pat her head because she likes it a lot when he touches her head. Later, He dreams that Sheena is leaning over him in bed and asking him to touch her. He wakes up dirty and ends up washing his clothes. Afterwards at school, Chitos points out that he looks pretty dead, so he reveals that he was out running in the morning. Sheena advises him to head straight to home after school to rest, and he doesn't give her a proper response in return. When they return home, she asks him whether he is mad at her, and when he denies this, she asks him why he has been acting so cold towards her. He reveals that he has a lot on his mind and she thinks that he doesn't like her anymore, due to which she begins her whining once more. He has no choice but to pathetically explain to her that he had a dream in which she was seducing him, and she then asks him how she was seducing him. He becomes even more flustered as he asks her whether she likes humiliating him, and she explains that she is only asking because she doesn't want to upset him in the future by doing such things. She then declares that he is the only boy she has ever gotten this close to, and he declares the same for her. She feels relieved that he is such a loner virgin who has never had contact with female species, and he then turns around so that she can stop looking at him. She then passes her back against his back and tells him to deal with it because he has been avoiding her all day. The next day, the upcoming test schedule gets announced, and later Amani tells Sheena that his friends are having a study group at his house. She comments that she will make extra food for them, and he asks her to join as well, so she gladly accepts the invitation. She reveals that she was already going to have a study session with Chitos, who is afraid of failing, and Amani reveals that he wants to come in the top 10 to boost his confidence. She then tells him that she will grant him any wish even if it's risky if he comes in the top 10, and he asks her to let him put his head on her lap. She agrees and even says that she will give him a thorough ear cleaning too. Soon all of Amani's friends arrive at his home, and Katawaki feels surprised to see Sheena so homely. Sheena starts teaching Chitos while the boys all study together. They head home after their session, and she gives him hot chocolate to drink, which makes him comment that she is spoiling him. She declares that she loves to spoil him, and he realizes that soon he won't be able to survive without her. A few days later, the grade rankings are finally revealed, and Amani manages to get rank 6. Sheena tells him that he should give himself a reward for working so hard, and he recalls how she told him that she would do anything he asks her to do if he manages to get into the top 10. He gets a little flustered, but he points out that she got the top spot and she should also give herself a reward for working hard, but she replies that she does not want to spoil herself. They go back home after school ends, and he asks her if there is anything she wants him to do because he wants to give her a reward for getting the top spot. She reveals that she wants him to chop up the cucumber using the slicer, so he explains to her what he meant, and she tells him to make sure to rub salt on the cucumber too. He starts slicing the cucumber like an obedient dog before asking her once again if there really is nothing that she wants him to do, and she reveals that she is very satisfied by how things are currently going. She explains that she has one wish, but only she can make it come true, and he gets surprised at how she really has a wish. She asks him to guess what the wish might be, and she throws a girly smile at him, which causes the virgin to get flustered again. He quickly turns away and says that he has no idea, so she tells him not to worry because she is happy with things. She sits down on the couch and tells him to put his head on her lap, but he starts getting shy. She points out that it was him who wished for her to clean his ears while his head is on her lap, and he explains that he does want it, but he is getting second thoughts about it now. She asks him why he wished for it in the first place, and he answers that it was due to his male instincts. She tells him that it's fine to follow those instincts and that he should just enjoy his reward. He gathers courage and puts his head on her lap, so she starts cleaning his ear. He feels nice, and she asks him if he finds it romantic, to which he replies yes. She gets done with one side, so she tells him to turn over, but he hesitates midway when he realizes how close his face will be to her glory hole. He manages to turn out while keeping his cool, and she finishes up with the cleaning, so she starts playing with his hair. He points out that she also has very nice hair, and she states that she likes it when he touches her head. The cringe boy starts blushing and ends up dozing off for a bit. He sees that she has fallen asleep when he opens his eyes again, so he gets up and tries to wake her up. He thinks about how she is too defenseless, but she is too sleepy, so he takes her key to take her to her room. He carries her to her bed, and she tells him to sleep with her while being half asleep. He tries to control himself and puts a teddy bear beside her before leaving. The next day, she arrives at his apartment, so he gives her the keys back, and she nervously asks him if he saw the picture in her room. He reveals that he didn't look around much, and he brings up how she asked him to sleep with her. She gets really embarrassed because she does not remember it, and she tries to explain that she doesn't have any physical desires like that. He tells her to be careful even though they're very close, and she points out how he doesn't have a problem with falling asleep on her lap. She teases him about how she might do something to him the next he falls asleep on her lap, and she leaves after telling him to pay more attention to why she does things. During PE class, Chitos cheers Itsuki on, and Sheena also waves at Amani, so Itsuki teases Amani about how he must be full of energy after she waved at him. The next day, Sheena greets Amani early in the morning to show him her summer clothes, and he starts losing it when he sees her legs. He asks her not to go out like that because all the guys will be drooling over her, and she asks him if he is also getting dirty thoughts after seeing her legs. He awkwardly replies with a no, and she teases him about it before revealing that she also brought stockings. He asks her if she showed him her bare legs because she didn't mind it if he saw them, and she gets flustered, so she replies that she does care about it. He tells her to show them to people who she actually wants to look at them, and she grabs his shirt before asking what he would do if he really wanted to show him her legs. She explains that she wanted to see his reaction, and he tells her that she looks great with bare legs, but she should put her stockings on quickly. She gets happy and says that she is glad that he was the first one to see her in summer clothes. They go to school and the boys still look at her despite the stockings, which annoy Amane. Chitose and Itsuki head for a date after school ends, and Amane and Katawaki encounter Sheena, who has some school work to do. They decide to help her out, and they overhear some girls talking shit about Sheena behind her back. After going back home, Sheena asks Amane if he's still angry at what the girls said, and she tells him that it's not a big deal. She explains that some people don't like her, but they cannot do anything because the majority of the students hold her in high regards, and that those people are just jealous of her appearance and position in class. He points out that some girls might be jealous because she also talks to Katawaki, and he comments that any guy would fall for her easily. She points out that he isn't a normal guy either, and she explains that Katawaki isn't her type because they have a similar role in class. She says that they won't be able to develop feelings for each other, and he points out that she is different in private than how she is at school. He says that the real Sheena is much cuter than the one in school, but she should be careful about not getting too physical with him. She frantically tries to explain that she only does it on purpose sometimes, and that she's only that way with him. She reveals that she has started to get tired of acting like an angel at school, and she will start acting like herself at school too now. He feels a bit disappointed after hearing her words, and he explains that he doesn't want the other guys to see her real side. She calls him cute, which makes him blush, and she grabs his face before telling him that he is someone very special to her. He grabs her hand and brings his face closer to her, but he stops at the last second by placing his hand between their lips. He tells her to be careful because he will kiss her the next time she says something like that, and he backs away, but she pulls him closer again before giving him a kiss on the cheeks. She immediately runs back home after doing that, and he remains shocked at why she did that. The next day, Chitose asks Sheena what events she will be joining on the sports day, and Sheena reveals that she's joining the scavenger race. Chitose reveals that she is the one in charge of the scavenger race, so it will be fun for sure, and Amane enters the class. Itsuki notices that Amane and Sheena are acting weird around each other, and during the lunch break, he asks Amane if they're fighting. Amane explains that they're not fighting, but something did happen, and that's why they're keeping their distance from each other. Itsuki tells him to get done with things by confessing, and Katawaki points out that Amane is the cautious type who won't make a move until he is sure that he won't get rejected. Amane remarks that he would have been more confident if she liked him too, or if he was pretty, and Katawaki tells him that he is too passive despite being a high-quality man. He tells them not to rush him, and Katawaki says that they're rooting for him. After going home, he encounters Sheena, and she apologizes to him for running away yesterday. She sits on the couch, away from him, and he asks her why she kissed him on the cheeks. She explains that she wanted to get back at him for teasing her, and she questions why she cannot do anything if he can, which makes him shut up. The next day, Chitose and Itsuki realize that they're on opposite teams for the sports day, and they start acting like a cringe couple. At home, Amane asks Sheena which event she signed up for, and they realize that they both picked the scavenger race. She points out that he is just trying to avoid a workout, and he explains that he is not very athletic. She asks him if he hates sports day, and he explains that he just does not like being forced to do something. He starts eating his ice cream, but he notices Sheena looking at it, so he feeds her some. He quickly backs off after realizing that he is getting too close to her again, and he gives her the ice cream after lying about how he is going to make coffee. The next day, the sports day finally begins, and they watch people race. Amane notices Chitose participating in the relay race, so he asks Katawaki why she is racing instead of someone from the track club, and Katawaki reveals that she is really fast because she was the ace of the track team in middle school. Amane is surprised, and Katawaki explains that she did not join the track team in high school because she did not want to deal with drama from her seniors in the team. He explains that there was a lot of stuff going on in her life before she started dating Itsuki, and a senior in the track club liked her, which was making stuff harder for her. Chitose manages to win the race, and Itsuki congratulates her. Amane gets up to prepare for the scavenger race, and Chitose tells him that he won't be disappointed by how the race goes. He gets a bad feeling from what she said, and the race finally begins. He quickly grabs a slip and is surprised to see what's written on it. Sheena pulls his shirt and tells him that he matches the thing on her slip, so he should come back to her after finding what he's looking for. He tells her that she also matches the thing on his slip, so they should head to the finish line together. He realizes that it was part of Chitose's plan, and he asks Sheena what's on her slip while they are running towards the finish. She keeps it a secret and she grabs her hand so they can cross the finish line at the same time. Chitose announces them as the winners and she asks them to show her their slips to check if they got the right things. She checks Amani's slip which says that he needs to find a beautiful person and all the students agree with his choice. She checks Sheena's slip next and she gets shocked when she sees it, so she asks Sheena if it's alright to announce it to everyone. Sheena gives her the green signal and Chitose announces that her slip asked her to find someone who was very dear to her. The whole school gets shocked along with Amani and the boys start bombarding him with questions. He reveals that they have been close to each other since last year and he was the guy from the rumors. He explains that they were acting like strangers because they knew everyone would freak out and that he doesn't care about their angel. He explains that he only cares about the real Sheena and Sheena asks the guys to stop bothering him. One of the guys asks her why it had to be someone dull like Amani and this pisses her off, so she starts roasting him for judging a person by their looks. She starts complimenting Amani and she points out that at least he does not judge people. Amani finally decides that he is going to confess and later in the day, she sits down with him. She talks about how he must have things to say to her and she apologizes to him for making him the center of attention, which he might not have liked. He tells her that he didn't mind it because he knew she was doing it intentionally and he apologizes to her for being a coward. He talks about how he was pretending not to notice her true feelings and she points out that she did the same thing too because she wasn't sure about his feelings for her. He pulls her close and he confesses that he never thought he would fall for someone, but she proved him wrong. He explains that he didn't like her at first because of how cold she was, but he started desiring her more with time, and she reveals that she was also very scared that someone would take him from her. He tells her that he will work hard to become someone worthy of her and he announces that he likes her before asking her if she will go out with him. She gives him a nod so they hug each other and he tells her that he will do everything to keep her happy. That's all for today. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more anime recaps.